Hello and welcome to Loving Me, Myself, and Life with me, Jody Misiak. And this is episode 3 of Finding Your Way Back Home of a 4-part mini-series that I'm so excited to share with you. So far we've noticed where we've gone. What happened to us? Why do we not feel like our true selves? And then we talked about fear. How to move forward despite fear showing up. And today, we're going to reclaim something quieter, but even more powerful. Your needs. Needs are not selfish. They're essential. Everybody has needs. I don't know a single person out there that doesn't have certain needs that need to be met. You know, we start out with being an infant and we have a lot of needs. And then they change and develop. Actually, it's not even that many needs. We have essentials. We need to stay alive. Babies need to stay alive. But we have those. And then as we keep growing and shifting and changing, our needs shift and change. So the needs you might have needed, even a month, a year ago, a decade ago might have changed now too. So just getting really clear on what do you need? Meeting your needs replenishes you and makes you more available to others. When you are taken care of, you're at a better place to take care of others. So today we're going to explore how to recognize, name, and begin to meet your emotional and practical needs with compassion, because that's what it's all about. Being compassionate as we go on this beautiful discovery, this rediscovery of who you are and where you've gone, and then how to come back home, that place that feels really true in who you are, like really connected. If you've ever felt that way, where it's just like, arriving home, it's like, this is who I am. It's a really great feeling. And that is what I'm trying to help you with here in this episode. And I'm really excited about, well, this whole series really. Okay, so what's needs versus wants? Because I think if you're anything like me, you have a lot of wants too. So what's the difference between a want and a need? Okay, well, a need is something essential for your well-being. So that includes rest, feeling like you belong, safety, creative expression, things to really connect to who you are, your soul, like feel up your inner being. And then a want is a nice to have. Like, oh, it'd be nice to have this. So healthy boundaries and clear communication help you get needs met without guilt. So it's getting to understand like, oh, can I live without this? And it's not even living it with, because like you don't actually have to be creative to live. But if you're very creative and you need to express it, it's a need, because if you're not doing it, you will feel hollow. So for example, I always take a break to be with my kids over summer break, spring break, all the breaks. And over the years, I've really established a really good schedule. I look ahead. I'm like, okay, I need to plan ahead. I need to do this. So I don't feel so stressful when I take a break. The thing is, I love my children. If I take 2 full months off, though, of doing my work, as in, like, I don't even want to call it work because I just love it. But if I step away from my business for that long, a part of me feels like I'm missing. So I've actually gotten to the point where I set different boundaries around my work now. It's not an all or nothing. And it's really great because my kids are older now, where they have their own lives too. They'll go hang out with friends, go to the pool, have fun. So we find a better balance. But when they were babies, I did a lot of that, or I worked on their naps. That was crazy. Not gonna lie. I could have used a nap, but I was trying to do something I loved. So I was finding a balance, but at the same time, I was not feeling very balanced at times. But it's doing what you love. So like I said, I love my kids and I love being a mom. But then if I'm only being a mom for 2 months, I'm not making sure I hang out with friends, or I'm not doing all those other buckets, or those, whatever you want to call it, are running low. So for me, it's getting really clear on what I want, what I love to do. And then it's not an all or nothing. You don't have to just do one thing. So I just wanted to share that because it's been a long time coming where I spent so many holidays and breaks and things like that. And at the end of it, I would feel broken. I'm like, what is going on? What is wrong with me? I had it all figured out. I had it all planned. And the thing that was missing is the thing that I love, that passion of mine. Yes, I love being a mom, and that's passionate too. Like, I've always wanted to be a mom as long as I can remember. But that's one area of my life. It's not all of who I am. It's a part of me, but it's not all of me. And I hope that makes sense. So it's really getting clear on setting boundaries, communicating. So every time we have a break, I talk to my husband, or even better now, we check in even throughout the breaks. And he goes like, how are you doing? How are you feeling? And I'm like, okay, I'm okay. Or I'm great. Like, I check in and communicate so then it doesn't feel guilty. There are times where I don't see my kids right after school because I'm working late. But really, it's not working late. It's just working into the afternoon. So they'll go and hang out at the library, or hang out with friends, or do something else. And sometimes there would have been time where I would have been like, oh man, I wish I could be with them. And then I had to remind myself, if I constantly put my work last and hung out with them every single time, I wouldn't feel my best. So it's really finding boundaries with yourself, with your loved ones, and everything else. And it's okay to ask without guilt because your needs matter too. And the really cool thing is after I have my time alone and I work and because my work hours are really in the afternoon. That's when I'm really creative and I tap into it. When I'm done and they come home, I have a better connection with them because then I'm all in. And what do I mean by that? I'm fully present with them. I ask them questions. They ask me questions. We really communicate. Now, is every day awesome? No, because maybe somebody's in a mood, including myself. We all have days. But most of the time, when I put my work and my passion, I'm like, no, I need to do this. I think this is my boundary. This is my work hours. When I do that and I show up for my business, for my passion, for my love, I can come and be with my kids and my husband on a much better, positive energy than if I would have just pushed through and just like, okay, whatever, I can do this later and not set the boundaries. Like there have been times where I'm like, no, like I won't work and I'll just hang out because the weather's nice or something. And if I do that too often, then I feel depleted. So it is okay. So an example of healthy boundaries, other than the one I shared with about my story, is needing rest versus wanting a vacation. So there's, but we all might need a vacation sometimes too. And then needing connection versus wanting constant attention. So connection and then constant attention is so different, right? So just having those ideas, what is showing up for you. Connection is so important. Rest is so important. And so is holidays and vacation. If you want to call it vacation, I like to call it a holiday. But rest versus just wanting to go away because it's cold, just different things, right? But we all might need that too. So it's really getting clear on your values and what connects to you. Because I can't tell you what your needs are because we're all unique and beautiful and we all have different needs. Just like plants, right? Not every single plant needs water every day, or not every day, or every week. There's different ones that need more. Some plants need a lot of sun. Some plants do better in the shade. Just like plants, us humans all have different needs as well. So it's figuring out, where do you thrive? Where will you grow the best? And then figuring, taking those steps to get there. So here's something you can do now, is you can take a minute and list 3 needs that haven't been met. So you can ask yourself, when was the last time I felt replenished? When did you really feel like you were rested and like not even just rested, because we can sleep hours and hours and hours. And if we're not connected to our passion and our love for life, we will never get enough sleep to feel replenished, because it's a mind, body, soul thing, not a just sleep thing. So when was the last time you felt replenished? And what was different? Now pick one need you can honor this week with a small action. Doesn't have to be a lot, just a small action. So for example, rest. Say you like, maybe you're not resting enough. Maybe you're on 4 hours. You're living on fumes. You're not sleeping enough. Schedule a 20-minute nap, or if that doesn't feel good to you, unplug for an hour. Just be. And here's the truth. So as I'm recording this, the time changed this week. And I'm always affected by it. And at the beginning of the week, I set the intention, be like, okay, whatever happens, just be gentle and caring to yourself. But at the same time, not using it as an excuse. So I was really connected to how am I feeling and what do I need? And I was feeling so tired yesterday. And I was watching an episode of Gilmore Girls with my oldest, my daughter. And I was like, I need to lay down and I'm going to like rest. And I got a blanket and I actually had a nap. I don't nap very often anymore, but I needed it. And I knew I had line dancing in the evening at 7. So I was like, I need to be more awake now. So I needed rest, even though I was like, I don't know. I have other things to do. And that I was like, you know what? I need to just lay down. I didn't expect to nap, but I did for about maybe 20 minutes. And then I woke up. I still felt a little dazed and like foggy. However, I made it to line dancing. I thought I was going to not go. I made it and I felt good. And then I am better today. So it all happened. But if I would have pushed through, I might not be where I am today. I might not be recording. So it's really important to listen to what your needs are. And then another example is connection. Maybe you're feeling disconnected. You haven't seen anybody or talked to anybody or just been working or, doing things. Text a friend and set up a coffee date or a walk. I love going for a walk with a good friend. And it's just so much fun. Get outside in nature, chat, just catch up. But coffee dates are great. Or anything that you like to do. Creativity. And you can actually line that up with connection. You could go to a paint night or something like that. But it's taking a little step. Or if you, for other creativity and it's not with a friend connection, you can block off 30 minutes in your calendar to do something that you love to do. Like for instance, I love reading and I just felt like I haven't been reading a lot lately. So I'm making that, a major thing in my day now. Like let's show up and do this. So when you want something to happen, put it in your calendar like you would any appointment and honor that. You matter too, just as much as all those other appointments. Okay, so here's the thing. I've talked about boundaries a lot. And over the years, I've learned and grown and I shared like so many different things and all that. And one of the most important things, in my opinion, is understanding this. Boundaries are not walls. They're not walls. You're not trying to keep people out. You're not keeping yourself in. They're compassionate structures that protect your energy, your time, and allow you to be present in that moment that you're in. And I remember when I first started, like, what are boundaries and things are happening? Like, it was overwhelming. It's really important to start simple. So here's an example. I can't take that on right now. So say somebody asks you to do something, you're like, I can't take that on right now. Or I need X to be able to show up. So it's like, I need 15 minutes for myself so I can show up. Or I need a nap in the afternoon. Whatever it is that you need, share that. Practice small, clear, and kind boundary statements. So it's really, it can be so tricky, but it's just letting people know what you need. So, because here's the thing, no one can read minds. We're not mind readers. So it's allowing people in to let them know what you need. So example, saying no to extra work versus offering an alternative timeline. So you could even say, like, somebody gives you more work. It's like, okay, I can do this, but I need to do it in this timeline. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing. It really doesn't. And like I mentioned earlier, I've had to learn to set boundaries with myself too. Working from home, being my own boss can be tricky at times because I'm in charge of it all. When I show up, when I don't show up. And I don't have fairies or like little gnomes working on my work when I'm gone. So it's like I need to honor those times and at the same time be flexible because life happens. So it's really having boundaries in place, ideas of what your day wants to look like. Maybe you want to set a boundary around your morning. How do you have a morning routine? Maybe 15 minutes. My children know, and this is going to be so important when we go into spring break, they'll know what my morning schedule looks like. So they'll do their own thing because they're old enough to do so. Now, obviously, if you have younger kids, then, it's having somebody else in your life know what your schedule is, what your plan is. And it's not about telling them like, hey, this is my plan, da, 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 da. You can be a collaborative conversation, right? You can collaborate and say, look, this is what I'd like. This is what I need. Can we do this? Or like, what are your ideas? Like it's talking about things because in our lives, we have other people around us. So it always starts with knowing what you need, how you're going to show up for that, and then bringing other people in so they know what you need and how you're going to all do that. And I hope that makes sense. So if you'd like to really get supported in this, setting boundaries, just even ideas like what do you need? Maybe you don't even know, and that's okay too. I've been there so much. Like I said, I'm still learning and growing. I'm definitely not perfect because life is not about perfect. It's about showing up where you're at and then learning along the way. And that is why I've created the Be You community room. It's absolutely free. It's a safe space to practice just showing up authentically as yourself, to share your stories, to share your struggles, your challenges, your wins, and to receive support as you really re-find yourself. Like come back to yourself because it's all about being you, showing up as you, and it's 100% free. So if that's something you'd love to do, come on over to our community room. And I do other things like we set in a monthly intention. I also give a monthly meditation, and then quarterly challenges happen as well. So it's this beautiful space and it's evolving constantly. So I would love to meet you and see you over in the BU community room. You can find this on my website, and you'll also find a link in the description below in this podcast. And it's at jodymisiak.com. And I would love to meet you. And then let's talk about our final episode. I can't believe that next week is our final episode, and we'll be weaving everything together, really bringing it all in. And it's like creating a life that reflects who you are. So then when you look at your life, you're like, yes, this is me. This is who I am. And then practical steps to make your newfound authenticity sustainable. Because nothing's worse than figuring out what you want, what you love, and then not being able to get there and keep it sustainable. Or you have it going and you're going along and then life happens. And you're like, what do I do now? And then you pick out the pieces again. I've also been there as well. So I get that. Life happens, and it's how do you come back and how do you make it sustainable as well? So if you found this episode helpful, please subscribe and tell a friend. And remember, honoring your needs is an act of self-love, of love in general. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for being here. I am so incredibly grateful for you. Take care and have a beautiful, beautiful day. Bye for now.